Koto, the Emperor's city. High on a stone cliff, defended by crumbling bridges and gates, and by a force that was far too small for such a vast place. The city was ripe for plunder.
3 days we fought on that bridge. Behind that bridge lay a whole city full of plunder. And if we failed now, we would leave with nothing to show for it. One more push would do it.
Hello there, and welcome back to Let's Play For Honor, episode 13. We are taking part in the Great Raid upon Koto City, the Emperor's city of the samurai within the Myre. Right now, we just have to simply fight our way to the gates of the city. Something to note about the style of how they use their hands upon their weapons. You'll notice it with the Kensei. The Kensei's hands are very spread apart. This is because of it creates leverage with your weapon. You want as much leverage as possible when you are wielding a sword especially. The way that swords work is it's essentially like a lever, or it has a fulcrum near the crossguard for most swords. That's where you want the weight at, because that's where you want it to pivot in your hands. You use one hand for controlling, and then you use the other hand for leverage. This gives you the most power with each blow and gives you the most control over where your weapon is going. If you cross blades with another person, whoever has the most leverage is probably going to win in any sort of pushing or pulling contest. Axes, of course, are quite a bit different. Like we're wielding. The center of mass of the weapon is at the actual axe head. Because you want the most weight where the weapon is coming down. Still, the leverage is important, as you can see with how spread out the hands are of the raider upon the weapon. Right there is the overhead attack of the Kensei that's unblockable, but it is still parryable, as you saw. Also, if you've ever wondered, you see those round shields the Vikings have. At the very center of it is a piece of metal. That is called the boss. That is there to help with deflecting of blows, of creating a sort of center point to the shield where it's most reinforced. Whereas the shield that the samurai little minions wield, I don't know if there's any basis in history for it. They're simple wooden shields, of course, but their design is very square almost like Roman legionnaire shields.
I needed to clear those archers myself.
I will clear those archers!
Now you'll notice in the Samurai campaign we're dealing with a lot more archers. I don't know if this was intentional or not, but that is something historical about Japan's military. During, for instance, the Sengoku period, and then before that, archery was a big deal, followed by guns with the Tanashigima matchlock rifle, which of course came from the Dutch, I believe it was. Or was it the Portuguese? I think the Dutch. But yes, anyway, the Japanese relied a lot on archery. It's why their armor is designed around dealing with archers. Samurai armor in particular is meant for taking arrow hits.
Nearly done it, Raider. Just a little farther. We have them!
Now, I do wonder, the Orochi was shown off early in For Honor. I wonder if the Orochi was actually supposed to be the main character class, the vanguard for the samurai, instead of the Kensei. Because Kensei, the actual term, a Kensei would be much, much rarer than an Orochi. I'm trying to remember what Orochi means. I believe it means some sort of warrior.
We've come so far.
More of these damn Shigoki. I really, really don't like this class. Here we are again. We're fighting alongside Helvar, Runa, and Stigandr. I believe Stigandr's here. I see Helvar and Runa.
Fight with us. Let's go. I'm hungry. This is no gate. It's more like a door. It's not a bad idea. You might live.
The All-Father's favor is a fickle thing. Impress him with your audacity, and he will see you through to victory. But let audacity grow into overconfidence, and he will deliver you to your enemies.
It was a great raid!
Valhalla, warrior.
For Valhalla, indeed. We have to go and fight General Tozen. Tozen is the final boss battle for the Viking campaign. Tozen is an Orochi, as you can tell by his animations. First, you have to fight these 3 duplicates. I would say this is the hardest part for fighting General Tozen. Something to note, General Tozen is not actually the best that the samurai have to offer. He's the second best. Although even that is not entirely correct, that's what they say in the game. I would say he's at most 3rd best. Possibly 4th. Something to be thankful about is when you parry, if somebody else hits you as you're parrying one person, it parries both of them. This means that you have a much easier time of dealing with multiple opponents at once. Right there was a double parry. Now, I'm not sure who these duplicates are, or if the idea is that he's somehow using magic. But I'm pretty sure they're just people who are lookalikes, who are also just skilled samurai, who are skilled Orochi. Now, I'm not entirely sure why the raider goes to do this fight all by themselves. I suppose it's that General Tozen scares the other Vikings. Also, when he does that flourish like that, he'll parry anything you hit him with.
my people will be remembered.
And of course, whenever you see orange like that, that means that attack is unblockable. In very rare instances in the campaign, that also means that it's unparryable. But you'll find unblockables otherwise are very much parryable. Now General Tozen for some reason has discarded much of his armor, and you get to see his face, kind of.
Only the Emperor's champion is a greater sword fighter than I. You cannot...
Outstanding. Gates open.
We had done it. Beyond those gates. Riches, spoils, plunder. The great raid of the Warborn clans would become legend.
If the commanders of the Iron Legions knew about that...
Now we can speak freely.
Well, that's a relief.
We're all your humble...
So, what is the real plan?
War. Huh? The natural state of our species. Yet these monsters flee from it. They're cowards. We must be brave for them.
We cannot hope to trigger war everywhere.
We can. If we recruit our enemies to the cause.
And that was a great raid. As we also see, Apollyon has something in the works. She's planning some way to cause further war to break out between the various factions of the samurai. That is the end of the Viking campaign. In the next episode, in episode 13, we will go... Oh no, 14. We will go on to finish up and do the samurai campaign, the last campaign. See you next time